Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. Let me say right off the bat that I know that a number of people have already weighed in on this, and I don't necessarily expect this take is going to be received the most generously, but it's something that's been on my mind about this, and I feel compelled to speak. Recently, you had this brother named Jonathan Wright out there in Houston. I don't know anything about the guy. People were saying that he was like a reality TV star or something, or he had a radio show. Well, however he came to prominence, he decided to open a huge hair shop catering to black women who like hair weave. And for his grand opening, he announced that he was going to be giving away free bundles to the first 200 customers. Well, you can probably guess what happened next. News of the free hair giveaway spread like wildfire, and for the broke bundle-wearing broads in Houston, it became a freaking stampede to get there. The grand opening event that he hosted attracted an estimated 200 to 300 people. According to the Harris County Sheriff, the turnout created traffic congestion and prompted store organizers to shut down the event due to safety concerns. There were also reports of someone having used some sort of chemical spray during the crowd surge, so you had some of that. Now, the popular narrative that's arisen around this event is that quote-unquote black folks, we's our own worst enemies, and this makes us look terrible. People are trying to get clicks and views out of this, and the black self-loathing is a fast way to get the algorithm to notice you. Oh, but Professor Black Truth, there was scuffling going on, people pushing, someone threw a punch at someone else. Tell me something. Was the behavior there worse than what it is at Best Buy or Targets on Black Friday, when merely discounting a few of those overpriced TVs causes fistfights and stampedes, even people getting killed? I mean, they're not even giving TVs away on Black Friday. They're just offering discounts on a few of them. People have died at Black Friday events. Brawls break out every single year at Black Friday events, and nobody shuts down Walmart or Best Buy. That's what happened with this Jonathan Wright's place. They showed up and they said, oh, you got too many people here, so we're going to go ahead and shut you down. Nobody says, oh, the people, they're fighting at Best Buy. They're acting like animals, I tell you. But then again, the typical Black Friday shopper, or should I say Black Friday brawler, doesn't look like the kind of people who are at Mr. Wright's hair supply shop, now do they? Look, let's get something straight. The people who like to demonize black folks, they don't need some over-the-top hair salon opening as an excuse to do it. Look at what they did over a fist fight in Cincinnati. The Respectability Politics crowd just kills me with this stuff. Sure, as black people, we certainly don't want scenes like this playing out. But are they really worse than they are for anyone else? Seriously. The way some of these simple-minded Negroes were reporting on this, you would have thought that there were 5 dead, 10 injured. But that's not what happened at all. Now, admittedly, I could care less about hair weave, and I certainly don't like the idea of black folks trying to be the ultimate hyper-consumers, so maybe that's the problem on my part. Maybe it's just another incident of Professor Black Truth thinking in abstracts again and can't think any other way. Okay, fine. But here's the flip side of the coin if it makes you feel better. Not to blame this brother Jonathan Wright for this, but let's be honest. He was hyping this thing to the hills, as he should be. He's trying to run a business. He's trying to get his business off to a hell of a start. That's what he was trying to do. And on the day of the grand opening, if you can't get people to show up in droves, you probably never can. He was doing the most to excite the crowd. He certainly wasn't trying to get them to calm down. He created a carnival atmosphere of FOMO, that's fear of missing out, and he was giving hair bundles away free. And let's be honest, for the kind of clientele that he was hoping to cater to, free is their favorite word, and you know what kind of folks that brings. But that doesn't mean that he deserved for his shop to be shut down, though. That was a massive overreaction by the authorities out there. But then again, especially in Houston, we know that there's a war on black businesses. We all know that. They couldn't wait to slap a fire marshal's restriction on the front door of that building. And let's be honest, if it wasn't this, it would have been something else. But putting aside the people who apparently anytime that they see black folks who are on television and the white media is pointing and say, oh, look how these black folks are acting. You got these Negroes who go into the predictable, I got to go ahead and say that these black folks is all wrong so that I can differentiate myself. That's fine, but let's not get carried away here. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I think we all remember how years back you had that Asian hair salon owner who punched a black grandmother in the face. And when black men came to shut his place down, that Asian salon owner suddenly announced that he was doing some big discount or other, and next thing you know, you had black women lined up out the door to do business with him. Now, if you want to be embarrassed about something, that's behavior that should have been embarrassing to you. That's behavior that should have been humiliating to you. That's behavior where you should have been going, oh my God, y'all are lining up like so many Yorkshire hogs at the slop trough for somebody who assaulted a black grandmother to give them your money? Now that's somebody who's acting like an animal, no matter what they were doing. Whatever happened to protect black women? Instead, they were lined up to give their money to a guy who was on video assaulting a black woman. If you want to claim that the people who showed up in Houston were acting like animals, quote unquote, what about a black woman who was getting treated like one? Black men were the only ones who seemed bothered by that incident, by the way, and you had black women yelling at them and cursing and telling them to go away. Since when did some damn hair weave become more important than a black woman being assaulted? That's what I'd like to know. That was some years back, though, and I remember, like everyone else, saying, man, if this is what black women are willing to do for a racist who has a hair shop, what would they do if it was a black person? And now we got the answer. Before I go any further, I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that I'm glad this brother got the massive response that he got. I don't like hair weaves. It's an expression of self-loathing, and I said it. And I also say that if you're going to be getting hair weave, then you need to get it from another black person. I don't think that's too much to ask. Everyone else comes into our community and then gatekeeps for the sake of locking us out of profit participation in our own neighborhoods. Well, we need to be practicing the same thing. People outside the community think that they're going to be making money off of us. You have to check in and go through a black person if you want to do that. When you go to Japan or China or Korea, that's how it is there. Hell, if you go to these same enclaves in the United States, that's how it is here. These other groups, you can't just go in and think you're going to set up shop and expect them to just let you operate. You got to go through one of them if you want to try and sell to their community. And we should be doing the same thing. In fact, we should be making inroads and going to the source overseas. Cut out the middlemen, because truth be told, that's where the money's at. It's not responsible or advisable to be getting hair weave. First of all, it's ridiculous, putting someone else's hair on your head. And secondly, it's economic suicide to be putting your money in someone else's pocket. These other groups, when they see us creating something, they want to try to reverse engineer their own pitiful version of it and try to keep the money for themselves. They try to make their own version of it. They don't come to us. Black people are the only ones silly enough to keep insisting on buying from people who would never buy from us. If you just gotta have your hair weave, well, there's something wrong with you if you do. But if you simply have to insist on it, then at least exercise some kind of common sense and buy it from another black person. Now, that said, one of the things that I've long lamented, like everyone else, is that we keep buying from everybody else, like their ice is colder. I wondered, would we ever keep the money in the family and buy from other black folks? Well, at least in Houston, it seems some of us got the memo. Now, you ain't got to like the scenes that were playing out at that hair shop, but the truth of the matter was black folks were showing up to do business with another black person. You can feel whatever kind of way you want about the incident, but in terms of group economics, this was actually an encouraging sign. It proves that black people will buy from other black people and do it eagerly. Sure, we don't need the craziness, but when you got a bunch of people silly enough to put other folks' hair on their heads in close proximity to each other, that's to be expected. It's not pleasing to see, but it's not surprising either. So let's grow up. I was telling you in last evening's Sunday address how the white media makes it their stock in trade that they're going to be taking things and blowing them completely and thoroughly out of proportion. Meanwhile, you got other incidents in other people's communities where they're doing things that actually should be making front page news and you don't see or hear about them at all. That's called white media manipulation, family. Don't ever let anyone try to indoctrinate you with the idea that apparently there's just some sort of pathology in the black community and, oh my God, these black folks, there's just something uniquely wrong with them. Knock it off. Now, the word on the street is that this brother Jonathan Wright's shop has been closed by the city. Hopefully, he can get the authorities to go ahead and lift that restriction. If not, that is a shame. I know how this will all sound to a lot of you, but when you consider how idiotically backwards some of our economic behavior has been for so long, in the abstract, it's actually been encouraging in a way to see this happen. Because while some black folks are letting the white media basically intimidate them and shame them and embarrass them with some unflattering images, other black folks, the kind who actually care about money, they're looking at this and going, hey, there are black folks who will show the hell up if you actually give them a deal on some hair weave. Maybe I should do that. Hey, we'll go ahead and take some precautions that this Jonathan Wright guy didn't take at his place. We'll take some precautions. But it shows that the money is there. See, that's going to be what the smart black folks are doing. They're not going to be sitting here trying to win some stupid respectability politics game with the white media that's never going to respect you in the first place. So that's how I feel about this incident. I know it goes against the grain, certainly against the popular narrative that's arisen around this event, but I do care about whether or not black folks are spending money with other black people, even if I don't necessarily smile at or tip my hat to the issue in general that they're spending money on. It is what it is. I guess it just goes to show that the old saying is true after all. Oh, what tangled hair we weave when first we try to make some cheese. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Reasonable Dude, Craig Simmons, Gregory Franklin, Leonard Cottingham, and LB. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.